Luke, before we get stuck in with the questions, just give the viewers a quick summary. I know this is the awkward question because you're like, what the fuck do I talk about? But let them know a bit about you and who you are.
Yeah, so my name's Luke. I am 38 years old. I work on the road a lot. I'm a regional manager for a care provider, so I'm traveling between sort of 14, 15 different locations across the southeast of England. I, what else? I'm married, I've got no kids.
Mm.
Love my football, but don't play it as much as I used to anymore. I don't play it at all anymore. Yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Sweet, that's good enough. That's good enough. And give me an idea of how things were before you started this program. And I want to be clear, this is mainly about obviously your fitness journey. So highlight areas in that respect, but
Yeah.
also in the context of how things were in your life, if they were affected by your fitness journey, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
Cool.
Yes, I'd been in and out of the gym, not in and out. I've been pretty consistent at the gym actually since about the age of probably 20, so 15, 16 years, I reckon, with varied results. I was someone that always yo-yoed a little bit, found motivation around holidays and things like that to really push myself further. But I was always someone that whenever I had an injury in particular, I would let things slide, both from a gym perspective, but then also from a nutrition perspective. I would look at it as almost the nutrition and the gym for me went hand in hand. And if I was putting the effort in at the gym, I'd be putting the effort into nutrition. In hindsight, maybe not as much as I should have, but at the time, that's what I thought I was doing. Second, I get an injury, it's the, there's no point in me eating healthily now because I can't train. Therefore, I'm not fueling those exercises. So I would see myself go up, go down, yeah, lose that drive a little bit. When I actually started this journey, I just found out that I'd got an injury to my rotator cuff, which was going to potentially set me back again, which is why I thought actually now's probably the perfect time to reach out to Ryan to get that support and that mentorship through that to almost teach me how to deal with future injuries because they're going to come, and working on both exercise routines that sort of help rehab that, build in the things that I'm learning at the physio was massively beneficial. Yeah, so I think that's from where I was to where I am now.
I was listening to a podcast the other day of a coach of coaches. So he coaches high level athletes. Every athlete's got an injury. It's about working around it. If you're trying to perform at your best, get to that next level, take your body to the extreme, like there's gonna be some form of slight niggle that you have to work around. And obviously you're not like a high level athlete yet, but it's important that it just made it's so true that you can't really expect everything to be perfect with your body for you to just take action. You can work around it, and that's part of making progress. But no, thank you. And I know that you've tried attempts before at getting to where you are now. Can you describe what you've done in the past to get in shape?
Yeah, so I'm always someone that does a bit of research before I do anything. I'm quite pragmatic in that sense. I'll look at different workout plans, I'll speak to different people, and I'll ultimately then try and go it alone and develop something myself. Whether it be develop a workout plan that I think, yeah, this really works for me. This incorporates things that I enjoy. This protects areas that I'm particularly weak, perhaps. Rather than pushing those areas, I'd almost do things to work around having to use them so much. I was never really confident that I could underpin the exercises and the routines with the nutrition side of it. Again, I always looked at it and was like, how much protein I've got to have? That's crazy. I can't do that. And I'd try and get a bit lean, and I'd get lean by eating more salads and stuff like that. And then I'd be like, right, now it's time for me to start bulking. And I didn't know what I was doing. So I would just then eat more. The second I then started to lose a bit of definition, freak out and be like, I need to diet again because my trousers are getting tight, my shorts are getting tight. And I wouldn't then see that process through. Equally, when I was dieting, I wasn't seeing that through to where I could get to. I thought I was, absolutely thought I was. And when when you first set me the weight loss target, I thought you were mental. I thought I wasn't, there's not a chance can I lose that amount of weight and be a functioning human still. But here we are.
Here we are. Here we are. Yeah, I know everybody's a bit skeptical with that initial weight target, but you pulled it off, 19 kilos, see you later, and a whole lot of muscle incoming.
Yeah.
So what attempts did you do with the, could you give us an idea of what you've done with your nutrition? What did you try in the past?
I would say probably I've used MyFitnessPal in the past. I've tracked calories in the past, but not ever really tracked macros.
Okay.
So I'd almost gone at surface level and gone, my calories are low. That's a good thing. I wasn't necessarily then putting those calories in the right place to get the right benefits. So I would lose weight, but look really gaunt because I'd be losing muscle mass because I wouldn't be having the amount of proteins that I needed in my diet to then keep that muscle from just wasting away. And I'd be looking gaunt a long time before I get to where I've got to today. And again, that's one of those, it then becomes a trigger to then eat more and yo-yo a little bit. I'm always quite an emotional eater. I'm not sure whether this is necessarily relevant to this answer, but I'm someone that eats my feelings. If I'm stressed, I'll eat. If I'm sad, I'll eat. Yeah, I always say that most people have a sweet tooth or a savoury tooth, and I'm unfortunate enough to have both. But yeah, so yeah, food wise, I think before, like I say, when I was cutting, it would all be salads constantly, basically, or I'd go your stereotypical broccoli, rice, chicken. So bland. So no wonder then I would then binge at the end of it because there was just I was getting zero enjoyment out of food. And I think one of the things that I've done really well since being on this program is adapting my diet to make sure that I still get those flavor bursts so that I don't get to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I need something other than brown rice, chicken, broccoli, because it's just not sustainable at all. All right, it certainly wasn't for me.
Yeah, that's fair enough. For most people, it wouldn't be. No, cool. Thank you. And we are going to go into that stress eating as well, because I know that's something everybody struggles with. But before that, could you tell me if there was a specific moment which made you think, I need to get help? I need to find somebody to, this ain't working.
Wouldn't say there was a specific moment, but there was definitely a build up of moments where I started realizing that I wasn't as young as I used to be, and I certainly wasn't as healthy as I used to be. I had I had to just have some sort of like routine health checks, found out that I had slightly raised cholesterol and slightly on the high side of normal when it comes to blood pressure. I was like, oh, this isn't great, not a good place to be, but not the end of the world. I knew I'd put on a bit of weight at that point because of the fact that I'd had this injury to my shoulder and I'd gone into that can't train, therefore let's just eat whatever. I just got really lazy in general with what I was eating. I stand by the fact that I put a stone on after my wedding eating packet sandwiches and meal deals from Co-op because it's at the end of my road.
Mm.
Um, so I think it was just a build up of things. None of my clothes were fitting as well as I wanted them to. I was having to go and then buy larger trousers, which is something that I never do. And in like throughout my sort of growing up, I've never really done that. I've always just gone, I need to trim down before it gets to that point. Whereas I snowballed a little bit, I think. But yeah, so I wouldn't say there was any specific trigger other than the shoulder injury, perhaps.
Okay, cool. Cool. Thank you. Would you say that there was any fears at least when before you started the program? Or because I know you
100%.
100%, what was that?
Yeah, so it's something that I toyed with the idea of doing for a long time, actually. But one was worried about the financial implications of it. Whenever you enter into something like that, you're always a little bit like, oh, it's an outlay that I'm not currently paying. But also, you see a lot of online coaches, especially on places like Instagram now, and you think how many of them are genuine, how many of them are going to work for me, and how many of them have just got a program that they just chat GBT and send out to every Tom, Dick, and Harry that approaches them like that. Yeah, I'd probably get some benefit from that. Of course, I would still because it's still more structure than I was putting in myself. But it just wasn't. Yeah, it was always something I was a bit apprehensive of, as well as like the fear of I'm quite competitive, but like self-competitive. The fear of not being able to do it after investing everything I was going to invest into this journey was big for me. So actually, before starting with yourself, I'd reached out to, I think you were one of three people that I'd spoken to that week, just to get a bit of an idea of what different people were offering and what, yeah, what that journey was going to look like for me.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I definitely understand why, because the coaching industry is a very saturated one that's been glamorized over the last couple of years since COVID, and everybody thinks as long as I look good and I can create good content, then that gives me the right to coach people. But I'm happy that you stumbled across me and you put your faith in me, because I take obviously what I do very seriously. And as you probably know, it, I think you as a coachee is very good, because you can you're pretty like on it when it comes to, okay, here's my macros, here's my calories, here's my training plan, let's do it. And you're like a robot in that way. But obviously,
Yes.
as with the program, there's more to it. And if there is any issues, we have tons of solutions to help you move forward anyway. No, good. And again, thank you for putting your faith in me, my man.
It's gone all right for me so far.
Yeah, you yeah, it's not bad, not bad. Let's say that. Cool. What changes did you notice when you started following the program at first?
So I think straight away the weight started coming off pretty quickly, actually, in that first month, for example, to the point that I was like, yeah, I'm almost where I need to be. Little did I know. I think when you hear the numbers of the sort of calories you're going to be going to, you instantly think, God, that's low. How am I going to do that? But actually, my energy levels, certainly at the start of the deficit, maybe towards the end, I struggled a bit more, but certainly at the start, we're absolutely fine. If anything, we're peaking, and I was hitting a lot more PBs down the gym early on, and that sort of really surprised me. I was expecting to be quite weak, quite lethargic, but that wasn't the case at all. And like I said earlier, it was also the variety of meals I was still able to create that still fit within those macros. I said right at the get go, I didn't want this process to interfere with my evening meals with my wife. I wanted that to remain a constant thing that we did together, and didn't want to be worrying too much within reason of what we were having in the evening, and almost account for that during the day. And I was always able to do that. And I think, yeah, if you told me that before starting, I'd gone, no, there's no way that I could still eat with my wife and still get into that many proteins, that many carbs, etc. Yeah. What anything else that I noticed? Don't think so.
Good. That's good, because as you stressed before the program, you thought low calories equals low energy, restriction, no meal with my wife. But I'm happy you put that again, trust in the process, and just done it anyway, figured it out as you went along, and realized that it's actually not that bad. The other,
Also, I think
yeah,
I realised quite quickly that despite the injury that I had, there was exercises that I could still do that supported the recovery of that injury, but also built the muscles around it. So whilst I couldn't go heavy on shoulder specific exercises, or maybe some chest exercises because of it, I was still able to build that strength in my back, in my arms, in my legs. Whereas I think previously I would have been a bit more protective of myself, thinking I've got an injury here, therefore I can't work any part of the top half of my body. And for all the love in the world, I'm not going to do leg day 4 days a week. So yeah, I think that was really surprising that I was still able to do, or you were able to build a program that still allowed me to focus on exercises that didn't impact the
mm.
injury.
And how was that injury now?
Yeah, it's good. I got discharged from physio a couple of weeks ago. I can still go back within a year and refer, but yeah, touch wood, good. And I'm slowly now incorporating a few more sort of compound exercises around that shoulder to really build that strength or build that power back in. Because being without it for 3, 4 months, maybe even longer, it's shriveled a little bit in that time, but it'll get there.
Yeah, no more all-time PBs anytime
No,
soon.
no.
Cool. So tell me, was there any kind of specific strategies or anything about the program which you thought standed out and which you benefited from the most?
Yeah, the flexibility of looking at the whole process on a week by week basis rather than a day by day. We spoke countless times about barriers that I might be facing on the week ahead, whether it be meals out, whether it be social events, whether it be anniversaries, weddings, whatever. And I think previously, so before starting this journey, it would have been I'd have if I'd had a bad Saturday, I'd have carried it on Sunday and done that classic. I'll start again from Monday, and that got even worse when I had a bad Wednesday because then it meant Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday would be a write off, and I'd start it again on the Monday. Whereas this really one allowed me to or showed me how to pre-plan for things and to account for if I'm going to be having a higher calorie Saturday, then Thursday, Friday go a little bit lower on those calories to make up for it across the course of the week. That's something I never thought of doing. I never thought it would be a benefit of doing it before.
Yeah, everybody's different and everybody likes their nutrition plan a different way. But I'm glad you got to experience how you can be flexible with it because, like you said, you can do anything on the spectrum, go really strict or go completely flexible. The most important thing is, can you adhere to it? And you, surprisingly, are one of my more flexible clients when it comes to your nutrition. But you've succeeded because you're willing to put the work in and plan all that stuff. So you've shown that you don't really need to be too strict and rigid to succeed. It is better for a lot of people, but you can be just as flexible and achieve incredible results, man. Credit to you.
I think, yeah, for me, it was dialing it back in as soon as possible. So if I was out on the Friday, Saturday was going to be 100% perfect again. And I
Mm,
wasn't going to allow anything to rumble on
yeah,
because, again, I could almost then not justify, I think that's the wrong word, but confirm to myself that it was okay that I did that yesterday because one, I planned for it. It wasn't a mistake. I knew it was coming. And two, that was yesterday. Today is now a fresh start and we're resetting again.
good. So were there any unexpected benefits or changes that you noticed along the way?
Unexpected changes. I think maybe my digestion to a degree, a lot more regular and standard and set times and
Solid
yeah,
poos.
yeah, clean,
Yeah, yeah.
very clean booze.
Nice. I need to put that in my marketing.
Yeah,
It is one of the surprising. This feels good. Yeah, this is better.
yeah,
It is one of those things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
But that was yeah, it's probably it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Fair enough. Cool. What would you say if there was, apart from the weight, were there any other significant changes that you've seen since working together, and has it impacted any other area of your life? And it's completely obviously fine to say no, but if there has been, do tell.
Yeah, I think the way I deal with different situations, it's not perfect. I still sometimes have those moments where I reach for something that's I've had a bad day or I've had some bad news or something, and I reach for food that I shouldn't. But the majority of times, I am now, if I am still reaching for something, I'm making more conscious choices about what I'm reaching for. I remember I said right at the start of this, I'm not going to switch out Maltesers for carrots because it's not going to hit the same. It turns out apples and grapes tend to, so that's a win. Walking a lot more. Like when I first started this, the whole hitting 10,000 steps was like, how on earth am I going to do that? And then the other day, I was like, I've hit my step target for this week. I'm going to have such a lazy day. And I looked at my watch at the end of the day. I was like, how am I on 11,000? Like, without realizing, that just became much more natural, much more a part of my daily life. I I now at work take set breaks away from my screen to go for a 20-minute, half an hour walk every day, stick my headphones in, just get out, come rain or shine. And that has massively helped me I think from a mental fatigue standpoint.
Mm.
as well as the sort of physical benefits from it. Not just staring at the screen 24/7, actually getting up, getting out before I'd maybe have my lunch at my desk, run downstairs, go and grab it, and then just come back up and eat. Whereas now it's, yeah, I'll take that time away from the screen completely to switch off for a bit.
They say there's loads of studies that say every hour have a 15-minute break and you're going to be way more productive at work and like
Mm.
basically buy back that time that you've missed staring at the screen. No, I'm glad you said it. Sounds like it's something that's ingrained into you to just go out and get an extra walk. And you're probably, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like after you feel healthier, after you're in the routine of of getting your steps in and eating all this stuff, when you veer too far off away from it, it just feels off. Like
Yeah,
it's not your normal. Yeah.
it's 100%. Take New Year's as an example. I accounted for it. It didn't come as a surprise. I knew that on New Year's Eve I was going to be eating more calories than I normally would. I wouldn't say I went crazy, but I definitely ate more than I would on a standard day. And I felt physically sick. I was like, this would have been like standard daily eating at one point, or
Mm,
standard weekend eating. And I felt like I just felt sluggish, tired the next day. I didn't touch alcohol. I'm not a drinker, but I felt like I had a hangover, and it was just a food hangover the next day.
mm.
Whereas, yeah, that surprised me. But again, I think it was because for so long I'd eaten so well that, yeah, it made me realize that actually I just didn't enjoy eating like that
Mm.
at all. Yeah,
Good. Now your new norm's healthy, so every time you veer off that, you'll get punished for
yeah,
it. All right, cool, mates. Could you describe to me how you feel about how you look or anything compared to where you started? Because by the time people see this, they're going to see your before and after picture, and you can see the difference in the face as well. I
yeah,
know when you first started, you probably thought I'm taking a naked picture of myself and sending it to a stranger, so that's why I look a bit glum. But you see your side to side, it's like the opposite. You're like going from
yeah.
frowning to smiling, but that's a picture. Is there any relevance to that with how you feel?
Yeah, I'm a lot more confident, I would say,
Mm,
now. Both body confident, but just confident in my own ability to achieve something if I put my mind to it.
yep.
I would not really have dreamt of, well, not dreamt of, but I'd always feel a little bit uncomfortable going into public places without my top on, swimming pools, saunas, stuff like that. I'd always feel a little bit like awkward about it. Or I'd be making sure I'm standing up dead straight, sucking it in as much as I can. For God's sake, don't get caught sitting down with the rolls everywhere. And I'm sure from the outside looking at me, no one would have seen that. But for me, it was, yeah, it was something I wasn't happy with. Whereas now I would happily, not happily, but I wouldn't have that same hang up at all. My wife and I went to a spa weekend a couple of weeks ago,
Mm,
and at no point did I feel like, oh, I don't like this situation. Like I wasn't walking around flaunting it or anything like that, but it was just, I just noticed that I didn't feel uncomfortable anymore, which is massive for me. Massive.
good. I'm glad, man. And I like how you say body confidence and confidence in general, because
Yeah.
pushing yourself like this does, it makes you just, for me anyway, it just made me shut quiet a few limiting beliefs about myself.
Yeah.
So that's
And
always
it just shows if you want something enough, you can push yourself further than you think you can.
100%. 100%. Cool, man. But I just want to bring it back quickly because we spoke about you had a problem with stress eating, emotional eating, but you said that a tactic was switching out the foods, like unhealthy sweet stuff with healthy sweet stuff. But yeah, I want to know more about your relationship with obviously your emotions and how you deal with food because that's improved like a lot. Yeah, just a quick one. Before you came into the process, and you mentioned that you struggled with emotional eating and why when you stress you eat, I was thinking, okay, cool, this is something that obviously is a significant problem for a lot of people, but you've managed it so well. So what have you done and how have you done it?
So partly by not having the the unhealthy options readily available to me,
Yeah.
but making sure that I have got other options available. Don't leave myself with nothing in the cupboards, because then I'm having to go to the shop and make that choice
Mm.
when I've got options around me. For me, it's been, yeah, it's been making sure that I've got those healthier options here, but also like just building them in on a daily basis to my calories, to my daily foods. I think as I've gone along, I've realized that if I pre-plan every single calorie I'm going to have that day, it gives me no wiggle room for if something goes wrong. So I try to leave something that I'll plan it all in, but then I'll leave something that I can either flex in or flex out towards the end of the day, depending on how that day's gone. But I'll always try and end the day on having something that replicates a dessert or an end of meal treat, even if it's not what other people might look at as a dessert necessarily. I also realized that I was more prone to doing that, to comfort eat, if you like, naturally if I was a bit hungrier, which would always happen if I'd used up most of my calories early on in the day. So I started trying to split out my meals a little bit, or split out my calories, not necessarily my meals, but split out my calories to have a 3 p.m. snack within there, so it didn't get to the point where I'd get to dinner, wolf down my dinner because I was so hungry, not let that then settle before then wanting to reach for something else.
Okay.
Because I quite often found that the emotional triggers that I have don't necessarily hit at the point that you'd think they would. I might have some trauma during the day or some stress during the day, and it's later that evening when I'm twiddling my thumbs that that's when the trigger sort of affects me a bit more. So just, yeah, allowing for knowing that, okay, I'm having a rough day. Let's make sure I save something for later,
Mm.
because invariably I'm going to feel like that, and that's okay. That's my way of dealing with it, but I need to make sure that I can account for it as well.
Interesting.
There's been days where I felt, right, I know that's what this feeling is, so I'm going to try something different. I'll go out for a run, I'll go out for a walk or something like that, which has helped. There's been days where I've just gone, I'm feeling like I need to snack. I'm going to brush my teeth and get an early night because I can't eat if I'm in bed. So it's not a one glove or not one size fits all, really, for me. And hand on heart, there are still times where I don't have that control over it. And I'll go to the cupboard and have a relatively healthy snack, followed by another two or three versions of that same snack, at which point it doesn't become a healthy snack anymore if you eat four of them. But those are becoming few and far between, and I'm a lot more conscious of when I'm doing it now. I think that awareness of it
Mm.
is something that has actually been heightened throughout this process. And I guess part of that comes from logging food as well, doesn't it? If you're scanning it, you're instantly going, phew, that
Mm.
bag of Maltesers was more than I thought it was.
Mm.
Or that large bag of crisps that I just demolished watching Man United lose again was
The pain.
half a day's worth of food right there.
Yeah. Wow, they must be really pissing you off lately. Apart from the final, like you don't go, that's
Yeah,
so
we seem to play well on a Thursday, but that's it.
yeah, no, that's mad. But yeah, you just literally highlighted one of the hardest situations people have to deal with, and how to deal with it properly, because it's not a one size fits all. It's not a case of just using pure discipline to not feel these emotions and just to resist it. There's so many different avenues to make it work and at least do better. But the most significant thing which you've mentioned is the self-awareness, because when you have these habits ingrained in you for a decade, stress, eat, just having a backup plan is not enough to completely wipe that out. But you mentioned there, it's still not perfect. You're getting better. And mate, with that awareness and that clear intention, it's only going to get
And
better.
actually, getting it right 50% of the time is still a hell of a lot more than I was before being aware of it.
Exactly.
And that's halving that impact of it straight away just by having that awareness, that coping strategy that works some of the time
Yeah,
is still better than not having it work at all.
for sure, for sure. Sorry, man, I'm going to be another five. Is that, are you all right?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So give me what have been the biggest lessons or insights that you've gained from this journey?
Biggest lessons, I would say, it's probably two or three. So one is just how far you can push yourself with the right words of encouragement around you and someone keeping you on that track that's got a bigger vision than your own, if that makes sense. You're talking to me with a whole process in mind. I'm talking to myself about getting from step A to step B, not D, E, and F. So, yeah, I kick myself a little bit for not reaching out to someone sooner for that support, because I wonder what I could have achieved if I was a little bit younger and my body was built differently and I didn't have aging knees and aging backs and all the rest of it now. But yeah, so that was one. I think the flexibility around, and again, this is just for me maybe, but the flexibility around food choices and still being able to enjoy social situations, maybe not in the extravagant way I might have done in the past, but with an element of control there and without missing out on it still has been really good. Because maybe in the past, if I was being good, as they used to call it, I'd avoid social situations. Whereas now I'm like, no, I'll go to it, I'll account for it, and I'll plan them in to what I'm doing rather than avoid them or, yeah, sit miserably in the corner staring at other people enjoying themselves more than I am. And then, yeah, learning that when you get an injury, it's not the end of it. It doesn't have to be. You can work around that. You can incorporate the recovery of that injury into your workouts
Mm.
and continue on with other areas that you can then strengthen at the same time.
Yeah, man. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, I definitely hear that, man. Yeah, I'm glad you've gained some key insights and lessons about that. But it's so true about eating out and social occasions, because every time somebody waits for a perfect situation to happen or something to occur for them to take action or completely remove it from their life and just stay hibernated at home, it's like you're making every single part of your progress conditional to when you're at home doing nothing, for when you can't join in on the fun. When you are planning to include yourself in these social situations, there's so many, from coaching you, you're on it when it comes to, I'm eating this, I'm going to eat that, I'm going to reduce that. That's how it should be done, because you can learn how
Yeah.
to be flexible. Good point
I
there.
think also I drive a lot for work and sometimes I'm away for 2 or 3 nights at a time.
Yeah.
And those times would be I saw no other option but I'm going to have to buy food out. I'm going to have to get a meal deal. I'm going to have to get this. I'm going to have to get that. And actually, through this process, one, I've realized that batch cooking is a really easy way of staying on track with this sort of thing. It's something I'd never really done in the past, but do it. It works. Yeah, it works really well. And it means that I'm then not having to make that choice when I'm maybe having a bad day, because I've already got it all set out for me. It's there, it's pre-done. I'm eating that because otherwise it's going in the bin. I'm not going to throw it away. But equally, I think we've been looking at on the times that I'm away for maybe a 2 night, 3 day stint. I can't bring all of my pre-cooked food for that because it just won't last.
Mm.
So we've looked at different menu options of different restaurants and stuff, and actually I've found that there's certain places that I can go to and eat and still be well within my calorie deficit, even at my like harshest deficit period as well. I still managed to have a Wagamama's one night. I didn't think that was going to be a thing. Yeah, I think I'm a lot more conscious now of looking at calories on menus sometimes, and maybe factoring that into my choices, not letting it be the be all and end all of the choice, but certainly factoring it in a bit more. If there's a toss up between two options, I'm like, oh, I could have that, I could have that. If I'm happy with either, why not just go for the slightly lower one? What's the harm?
Yeah. A lot of people will love the fact that they can still eat out at Wagamama's and still lose
Absolutely.
weight. Now, especially like the dieting phase is a short, is not the short, it is a short-term process, but like you're out the other side now. Your
Yeah,
calories are higher. Now you've done the hard bit, which is be flexible on low calories. You're not going to have that problem for a long while now. So
yeah,
get through it, push through it.
yeah,
Good,
absolutely.
good, good. Now that you've completed the fat loss phase, what's the goals now?
To start packing on a bit more lean muscle again, which was the goal right from the get go. The fat loss phase was a means to an end because I was carrying a bit too much timber. So, yeah, start to see that strength really build up at that gym, start to see myself grow and physically develop in different areas and really get that sort of more aesthetic vision that I've got for myself that I want to be able to achieve.
Nice, man. And an important point which you mentioned there, you came here for muscle building, but we made you lose 19 kilos of body fat. The reason why is obviously the benefits of muscle building are from a leaner point, it's easier to build muscle because you have a longer period where you're leaner, you're more receptive to digesting the nutritions well, better. And obviously, if you bulk when you're fat already, then it's only going to cause more problems as you up the calories. So it's just better starting from a leaner point because you can gain fat slowly as you build muscle. But you've gained so much, you've gained a solid foundation when it comes to eating healthy, tracking your foods, and just setting a standard with how you live your life. And that's so important. And trust me when I tell you, back in the day, years ago, when I've had clients and I didn't really know, like no, probably 8 years ago, I didn't know what I was doing. I'd be like, yeah, let's go on a bulk. These people would carry the same bad habits into their muscle building phase, and it would work as well. So, yeah, we built a solid
This
foundation.
is what I tried to explain to someone because when I someone asked me why I'd lost all the weight, and I was explaining it was actually part of a longer process, and they're like, "Well, shouldn't you bulk first and then lose the weight?" And I was like, "You could, but if I'm bulking and I'm having, let's say, for argument's sake, 3,000 calories a day, and then I'm having to try and get down to 1,500, that is a horrible journey. Whereas if we start the journey slow on the lower calories, get used to that, and then build up to that, what a reward at the end of it,
Yeah,
rather than the punishment coming at the end. Yeah. So, yeah,
yeah,
that's how I'd explain it to that person. They're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get it a bit more now.
yeah. Let's just say this, your poos wouldn't be as smooth if you didn't do this.
Yeah.
Uh,
Save a lot of money on toilet roll.
yeah, exactly, exactly. Last couple of questions. Would you recommend this program to others? And if so, why?
100%. I absolutely could not have got to where I am now physically, maybe mentally, without signing up to a program. You've been flexible around various different events that I've got. You've worked with me on coming up with strategies to attack those and to still, on some occasions, damage limitation. I went on a week-long stag do. That was damage limitation, but we did it. And yeah, there's not a chance I would be able to do that, or even get back on it as hard and as quick afterwards if I was doing it on my own at all. And I think the results speak for himself. I thought maybe a month before this ended, that's my final form. I'm happy with that. And you're like, we'll push more. We've got another 5 kilos to lose. And I hated you. I was like, why has he done that? It's my birthday. Why has he done that to me today? Like, I don't think I responded for a couple of days. But yeah, and that's the point that I would have gone, right. If I was doing it on my own, I'm happy with this. I'm now gonna start. increase my calories again if I thought about it that intelligently. But the fact that you were able to identify, no, you've got more to lose, more to give, and it'll be beneficial in the long run. Yeah, it's been massive.
Good. Thank you. Appreciate that. And obviously, I have to commend you for the effort that you've put in, because obviously the coaching program and the things that we have in place is one side of it, but having somebody who's dedicated, committed, and open to trying new things, which they probably wouldn't have done before, is a huge part of this, mate. So yeah, well done. Thank you for really being a good coachee and implementing everything and setting a good example for everyone else.
Thanks, mate.
No worries.